All right. We are back, y'all. We are
Hey,
back.
yes, we are.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another fantabulous episode of Real Women, Real Talk. I am one of your co hosts, Siobhan Carter, and I'm a facilitator for Real Women. And I am joined by this beautiful lady
We fly today. I don't care what nobody say. We fly. My name is Trinace Richardson, and I am the founder of Real Women, and very happy to be here.
Yes, y'all. And we are on episode 19 of this amazing episode. And as of this recording, we have 100 downloads on our podcast channel. Woo! So we are celebrating the wins, y'all. 100 downloads. That is so cool. This is our 19th episode. So we're just so grateful for everybody who is listening, who watches on YouTube. We appreciate you. But we thank you for tuning in and just checking us out and just journeying with us. This is a journey.
Mhm.
And so you are on it. We know this is going to grow. We know it's going to reach more people, but we thank you to those people with the 100 downloads. We love you and we appreciate you.
Mhm. Mhm. Thank
Yeah.
y'all so much.
Yeah.
I love that you said journey
Mhm.
because we are learning so much about each other and ourselves and inviting others to learn as we go.
Yeah, yeah. And we are well into 2024. So excited about this new year and all the things that we're going to talk about. And who knows what this year has to bring. So we're just going to continue doing these episodes and just stay tuned to what's going to happen next. So let's talk about real talk. It's been a minute since we have seen each other, sister, and talked to each other. So, first of all, how are you doing?
I am really good today. I feel my smile is from the inside out. For those of you who can't see, I'm feeling really blessed, and it's probably because all things. I mean, I should feel blessed anyway, but I'm eating better. I'm exercising regularly, so there are a lot of things that are coming together. Doing my exercise, prayer, meditation, and devotion, my EPMD
Yeah.
on a regular basis, and finding joy, laughing as much as possible, and enjoying my family and friends and
Mhm.
real women sister circles and growing professionally and personally. I have no complaints today. I'm good.
Yeah, I love that. Well, you look, I can see the radiance glowing. You're glowing. You look beautiful. Your necklace is pretty. If you can't see her, she has on a beautiful necklace and nice red burgundy type lipstick. It looks really nice. Yes.
Thank you, sister. You look gorgeous as well.
Thank
Child got the
you.
hair laid.
Thanks from the hairdresser's child. I said, let me get off this
Yes,
blouse so I can go get my hair did. Yes.
you look awesome.
Thank you. So I'm doing well also. I am feeling good. I am feeling rejuvenated and relaxed. And I'll talk about why in a little bit. But yeah, I
Listen,
feel great.
I'm gonna just say I haven't asked you any questions because I wanted to wait until right here. I'm looking
Yes,
so forward to this.
yes. So a part of my real talk, y'all, I wanted to talk about taking a solo trip. And so I
Mhm.
want to ask you, sister, if you've ever taken a solo trip, and if you have, where did you go? And if you haven't, where would you go? Because I took one recently, and I'm going to share my journey, but I wanted to ask you first.
I cannot wait. Okay, so I'm gonna answer the question first and then give my preacher's answer. Um,
Okay.
the answer is yes.
Okay.
I have taken a solo trip, but what is interesting about that for me, before I say where I went, is that I didn't get a passport until 3 or 4 years ago.
Mm,
So, and I am 49, so I'm old enough where it didn't require a passport to go a lot of places.
mhm.
But even those places I've gone was limited in my life. I haven't done a whole lot of traveling before my in the last 10 years. I say I've done more travel than I have all my life.
Okay.
I grew up there are people like this in our lives, in our families, that never make it out of their neighborhood. They just don't feel like they need to venture anywhere, or they say, there's a meme that's like, please don't take me to Miami or Atlanta. Like, don't take me there one more time.
Right.
Right? Or Orlando.
Yeah.
Um, so I've been one of those growing up that I went local places a lot.
Mhm.
Couple of places ventured out, but I'm making up for it in my adulthood.
Yeah.
My my answer where I've been by myself, I live in Maryland. That's Southern Maryland. I've been to Ellicott City, Maryland, in Northern Maryland, at Marriottsville, Maryland. There are a couple of places that have these retreats.
Mhm.
Um, and there's one, Bon Secours, in Marriottsville, Maryland, where
Mm.
you get to go there and do like a silent retreat. And
Mm.
I was gifted that opportunity when in my single life by a pastor and first lady, who wanted, to gift me something, and they gifted me time there. It's a monastery, but they rent space for you to come and just be on the property. It has a labyrinth, a pool, a library, no TVs.
Mm.
Really a beautiful place where you get the option of a silent retreat, or you can go to workshops where you have to talk. And I did that in my single life for years,
Mm.
just by myself. And then even I think went once or twice by myself since I've been married. So I've done that, and it's very local. Was my point. I mean, it's like I drove 2 hours and went
Okay.
rather than flying somewhere. Everything else, all the other travel that I've done by myself, I was meeting people there, like a pageant. I've traveled to Virgin Islands and Saint Martin, but I met people there because I was there for an event. So
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So I haven't been brave enough to go past Maryland solo trip. I don't even know if it has come to my mind, because when I was single, I
Mhm.
was thinking, I can't wait till I get married because I'm gonna go with my boo, and then all of that kind of stuff that we wait for, something to happen when
Mhm.
we have somebody to do it with, and
Yeah.
just didn't do it by myself. I did a lot of traveling in the car to go meet up with people and that kind of thing, but not just to be solo. So
Yeah.
I cannot wait to hear about this solo trip.
So
So
this
have you done a solo trip before?
I have, and it's gonna be a little story time. It might be a little long, but I think it's
I
worth
love it.
it.
I want all of it.
I really want to share this. So this I have taken a solo trip. This was my very first one,
Mhm.
and I brought in the new year in another country. In
Woo!
Jamaica, Montego Bay, Jamaica is where I went. I'm trying to think of how it even came about. Why did I even decide to do this? I think I was just sitting at my desk reflecting, thinking about the new year and what I wanted to do, how I wanted to spend it, and just reflecting. And this idea just came up. Like, I had gone to Mexico to bring in the new year a couple of years ago, and it was just really fun and different. And I went with someone,
Mhm.
so that experience came up, and I was like, "You know what? I just wanna do something different this year
Mhm.
to bring in the new year, and I wanna do it by myself." Like,
Mhm.
just like I talked about being a free spirit in previous episodes, I just felt like I needed to do this for me. So I'm online, I'm looking, and I had gone to Montego Bay, Jamaica before this exact resort with my girlfriends in 2022. So I was
Okay.
like, you know what? Let me go somewhere where I feel comfortable going to,
Mhm.
somewhere that I'm familiar with and
Mhm.
that I kind of know my way around since this is my first trip. So I booked that hotel. It was a really nice resort, and I decided I wasn't going to leave the resort. I would just stay on there because they had enough for you to do on the resort and just relax. And when I was looking up the rooms, I was like, you know what? I want a suite on the ocean so that I can have a nice view. I just felt like I wanted the queen treatment.
Yes, yes, for yourself. I love it.
Yes. And when I saw the room, it's like something inside me just jumped for joy. So I was like, all right, well, this is the room. This is where we're going to be staying.
Mhm.
So I booked the room. And before the trip, like leading up to the trip, I was a little anxious because, my mom was just make sure you're careful and you just never know what's going to happen, all these things. So I'm like, Lord Jesus, just please be with me. It sounds like a good idea in the beginning, but then fear and anxiety starts to kick in. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be fine. I know where I'm going. I feel like this is something I need to do.
Mhm.
So I go to the airport and everything, get there just fine. I had all of my details mapped out as far as transportation to the airport. It was only 7 minutes away, so I didn't have to go far. I get to the resort just fine. I got there early enough so that I can spend the whole New Year's Eve at the resort. So I got there around
Mhm.
1 o'clock p.m. And I get there, I get in the room. I'm so excited because the room looks even better in person.
So did. What I
I
saw
took
it
a
did.
video, yes, sent it to
Mm,
y'all, sent it to my mom so she can calm her nerves. And the view was just beautiful. The
mhm,
ocean, the weather was beautiful. And it was just like, this is what I needed. This is what I desired. And it was me. I did it for myself.
mm,
And it
mm,
just made me feel so good.
mm, mm,
About to cry right now just thinking about it because
mm,
I've never done anything like that for myself
mm,
before.
mm,
I've gone on trips with men and with my girlfriends, but
mhm,
it was treatment for me.
mm,
And it
mm,
showed me what I'm worthy of, what I have the ability to do for myself, and that
mhm,
I'm capable of going on a trip by myself and
mm,
being perfectly okay.
mm,
So I spent time just on the balcony. It was a beautiful balcony where I could just look at the ocean, hear the water. I spent time there. They had little activities in the evening, brought in the new year. They had a little New Year's Eve party, brought in the new year. I met another lady who was on a solo trip. So we sat
Oh,
at the table
nice.
together. So it was just a perfect trip. I went to dinner by myself. I thought I was gonna feel a little weird by that. But honey, I was in my little corner chilling and just looking at everybody, okay, creating stories in my mind about why they're here and who they're here with. It was just amazing. I did some
Mhm,
journaling, but not a whole lot because it just
mhm.
felt like I just needed to be, you know.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
needed to be. I took my Single at Heart book, so I did do some reading of that and just really confirmed the point that I am a single at heart, and I just love the ability to just get up and go and do as I desire. So it was amazing. It was amazing, and I would do it again and again. And I didn't have any issues. I was safe. I didn't leave the resort, and I wasn't the only one that was there solo tripping, so that was comforting. So it was just everything that I needed, and I don't regret it, and I would do it again. So,
Mm,
yeah,
mm, mm.
highly recommend it if you have been looking to do a solo trip.
Listen, I am so happy for you. I was like, okay, now that she's gotten settled into this hotel, she is not reaching out to her sisters at all. She must be having a blast.
Just having a good time, just relax,
Oh.
just sit on the balcony alone
Mm,
and just feel the sun. I did little photo shoots with my little bathing suit. I walked around and watched people, then came back to my room. So it was just peaceful.
so
Yeah.
good, so good.
Mhm.
Did you leave with any kind of ahas or downloads? Was it just the peace and calm of being and the confidence that you can do it again? That's kind of what I'm hearing you say. But I'm wondering, like, did you walk away from it like, huh, about anything in particular?
I think it was just the confidence that I need to trust my gut. When I feel like I need to do
Mm,
something for myself, just trust it. Even if naysayers are like, "Oh, I don't know, da, da, da," just trust that I'll be okay. Just like I went skydiving, it's the same feeling that I had.
mhm,
And I think that was the main thing, to trust that I will be protected, I will be okay,
Mhm.
and to just start looking for exciting things to do for and with myself. That's what I got from it, and taking that
So good.
at heart with me just confirmed and reaffirmed who I am at my core. So just a lot of nuggets that I took from that book about the authenticity, the desire to not have to prioritize a romantic partner's life over my own, like that
Woo!
kind of stuff is what
So good. So
way.
good. And yeah, you can allow some chatter and noise to be in your ear
Yeah.
about the dangers
Yeah.
of doing this, but
Mhm.
you it sounds like, and I know you did all of the safety things you can
I
do. You
did.
told the folks where you were, you
Yeah.
chose somewhere you've been before. You did all of the things. You didn't just go touring
Mm-mm.
unknown places you've never been. You stayed on
Right.
the property. And
Right.
so you did everything you needed to do. And I really think we should not be led by or live in fear. And
Yeah.
so I love that you did that. And just a small plug, because you said your big aha was just to trust yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Not only are we in the midst, or have we been in the midst of, sister circles with real women, but
Mm-hmm.
I want to make one of our episodes deep dive about trust, because it's come up
Mm.
before, but I'm doing it in particular. I would have done it by the time this episode airs, but at our Annapolis launch, we're going to talk about trust,
Ooh.
and it'll
Okay.
come up again in different circles. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, really important, really
Yeah.
important.
You know what's so interesting about that, about trusting yourself? Now, I told you my mom was just so nervous in the beginning. I get
Mhm.
to the middle, towards the end of the trip, she and my stepfather now want to go somewhere and bring in the new year. And he
Mhm.
was like, I wanna, so they call me Vaughn. He was like, "I wanna do just like Vaughn did and go on a trip by myself, shoot." And see, it unlocks, other people's courage when you
It
just out
does.
and do what you feel, led to
It
do.
does. The last thing I'll say about this, because we are only in the first segment, this is so beautiful. But your word that you gave us a couple of episodes ago, a few episodes ago at this point, was free spirit.
Yeah.
And I know this from walk doing life with you, that when you dare to walk in your freedom, you
Yeah.
are a trailblazer for those who come behind you. So
Mhm.
so keep doing it, sister. I
Yeah.
love it.
Thank
Mhm.
you.
Yes.
You. So yeah, so that was my trip. So if you have ever thought about doing a solo trip, I highly recommend it. Like Trinae said, I took precautions, so I didn't just throw caution to the wind. I did take some precautions to start out, and so yeah, just try it and see what happens, and let us know if you've done
Mm,
it before. If you're a person that does it all the time, and you're like, girl, yeah, I do that all the time. Let us know about
mhm.
it too, because we want to know. We want to hear your stories.
Would love to hear about it. Mhm.
All right. So, are you ready for our deep dive, sister, as we go a
Woo!
little?
I'm getting ready. If I'm not ready, I got to get ready.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah.
So, since we're talking about truth, we're going to explore truth from a different perspective. So,
Mhm.
at the time of this taping, there has been a social media storm happening as it relates to Cat Williams' interview on Club Shay Shay, Shannon Sharp's podcast. And
Mhm.
everybody has been talking about it. It has gotten so many comments and so many perspectives on his interview. And the gist of it was basically he wanted to go on there and just share his truth. He thought that some guests had came on and shared some false hoods about him and other things, and so he wanted to clear the air and share the truth.
Mm.
And in his own way, that's what he did, and probably had some other stuff in there, but
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
what his intentions were. So it just got me to thinking about exposing, because I feel like this has been
Mm.
coming up a lot with people feeling like they need to expose their
Woo.
truth or expose other people.
Mhm.
So I want to hear from you, sister. I have so many questions as it relates to this, but At what point, I'll start with this one. At what point does keeping it real or telling your truth or exposing a person become bitterness or jealousy? Like,
Mhm,
what are your thoughts about it? And is there an appropriate way to tell your truth? Like, what are your thoughts about that?
mhm. I think right at point A, it can be about bitterness and jealousy. I think at what point? Right at the beginning.
Right at the
No.
top.
He told us he gonna set everybody straight. But in
Yeah.
general, in our lives,
Mhm,
I, I'll be honest with you. I really do believe in sharing your truth and
mhm,
being truthful and honest about your life. And I've heard it said, and I do believe it to some degree. I'll temper this in a second, but I've heard it said that if someone doesn't like how they show up in your story,
mm.
they shouldn't have shown up in your story like that.
I like that.
because
Yeah,
that it becomes my story once you insert yourself into my life.
yeah,
And I mean, I have to own that I'm a part of somebody else's story,
yep,
and that I have mistreated them or I have treated them well. That's going to show up in their story.
mhm,
Same for me. I get to tell my story and how folks show up in mine. And so I do believe that owning our truth and being able to express our truth
mhm,
is paramount. I really do, because I believe if you hold those things inside,
mhm,
um, it can be detrimental to you. It's unhealthy,
yeah,
right? I also believe there's a how
mhm, mhm,
to how we expose or express our truth and keep it real.
mhm,
And I think the how plays into whether it's bitterness or jealousy,
mhm,
and whether we allow that piece of us, we've talked in previous episodes about pieces of us, whether we let that piece of us drive in that moment when
mhm,
we share, who we share to
yeah,
and how we share. I I can share any kind of way I want to my sister girlfriends.
yeah,
I can share, I can put it out there, in any kind of way I want to my therapist.
mhm,
And I don't have to figure out and filter how it affects anybody.
yeah,
But I heard it said, just to go back to the Cat Williams thing once, I heard Ricky Smiley respond, and his response was so gracious and honorable.
mhm,
Um, whether what the stuff he said Cat said was true or not,
mhm,
what Ricky Smiley said was, not only I'm not going down that road. He said, I wish him well.
yeah,
And what he doesn't realize, or what he doesn't care about, talking about Cat, is he didn't affect me. He affected my kids and my
yeah,
family the way
mhm,
that he spoke about me. So I just think there's a how to how you do it. And the how tells me whether I am acting out of bitterness or jealousy.
mhm, mhm, yeah.
Yeah.
So this one had me thinking a lot because I
Mm,
had to go back to when I felt like I was on both sides, and that
mhm,
was when I wrote my book. So
mhm,
I wrote a book about my life, Dear Miss Wholeness, and it was basically about my journey of divorce and how I ended up in that situation, and then working backwards to talk about just some of the challenges with my father, my stepfather, growing up, and other men in my life. And there were times when I absolutely felt bitter, angry, resentment, all the feelings as it related to many of those men that I
mm,
mentioned in my book.
mhm,
And at the same time, when I wrote the book, I wanted to make sure that I was telling my story and not trying to attack them or tell their story, but to
mhm,
just talk about my journny, how the part they played in my story, how it impacted me, and how
mhm,
I moved forward with all of that
mhm,
I had gone through. So I was very intentional about how they were presented. Now, the truth was the truth as far as what I went through and what I experienced with them, but I just tried to make sure that I didn't paint them in such a negative light, where it's just like I'm bashing them.
Sure.
And even with having a publishing company, that's something that I am intentional about also when people come to us and just want to share their story, how it's told, like you said, is the
Mhm.
main thing, because it just, to me, with this whole situation and other people like, "Oh, I wanna keep it real," and I understand it, like, if that's what you wanna do, the question I ask is, what are you trying to get from it, though? Like, at the
Mhm.
end of the day, what is this doing for you? And what
Mhm.
it's doing to the other person? Sometimes they
Mhm.
be like, "I don't care what they did because this is what they how they feel because this is what they did to me." But it's just like, "Okay, you told your truth, now what?" And
Mhm.
in the way that it was told, it's just like, it just doesn't, in my opinion, it just comes across as bitter or resentful or jealous, and so it's just,
Mhm.
what's your end game, you know? So
Mhm. Mhm. I
that's
agree. I have I have opportunities both in my recent past and in my present to I have had opportunities and I still have opportunities to tell my truth in a way that would expose others, right?
mhm, mhm,
Um, and that would hurt others.
mhm.
Um, and so I've chosen not to share my truths in certain ways
Yeah,
or with certain people or in certain circles
mhm,
because I don't want to deal with the ramifications of how it would make me feel
got you,
to
mhm,
break down any any emotional it I would be breaking down some emotional stuff with some folks, right?
yeah,
And
yes,
so for me, I think about my book, right? One we've been working on for years now. I
mhm,
have honestly held off um, because there are a couple of people in the book that
mhm,
I would hurt. I would hurt their feelings.
yeah,
And even though I am very, and you've read those pages, I'm very gracious and considerate
mhm,
about how I've written it.
yeah,
Um, it has given me pause.
mhm,
What I will say about that is everybody is unique and different, and their stories are unique and different, and their truths are unique and different.
mhm,
So there is a point when my reservations or my holding back is holding me back
mm.
instead of just being considerate of others.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
understand what I'm saying?
absolutely understand.
So I think we, as much as, it's easy for us, and I'm just playing both sides, like you
Yeah,
said, right?
mhm,
As easy as it is for us to say inappropriate, doing
mm,
it out of bitterness and jealousy, all those things, I
mhm,
think at some points, if you hold it in long enough, or if you continue to see or feel unnoticed or mistreated or mishandled or this or that, it's
mhm,
gonna come up some kind of way. And
yeah,
so please find the healthiest ways. I guess that's my admonition. Please find the healthiest ways to do that so that you can feel like you are releasing something and it's not holding you back either emotionally or spiritually or any other way.
yeah, yeah, and that makes me think about those people who have been violated, who have been wronged, who are currently being wronged,
Mhm,
and just need to speak up about it and be
mhm,
advocates for themselves or
mhm,
to prevent the situations from happening again. So I absolutely, agree with you that sharing is important. It's just
Mhm.
the how, the where, and the intentions behind it too,
Absolutely.
that I would
Absolutely.
encourage people to explore. Now what you do,
Mhm.
that's your business. Now we ain't gonna judge you
That's
however
your
you do it.
business.
That's your
Mhm.
business. It just made me think about the what is the goal, at the end of the day?
Mhm.
It's just something to explore, a question to ask when people like, I want to keep it real or I want to expose. I just wonder, what's behind it or what are you looking to get from it when
Mhm.
that. So mhm.
Mhm. Yeah. Yep. That was
Mhm.
a good I I'm stewing over it, and I probably need to think a bit more, and some level of this, I think, will come up for us again. Um,
Mhm.
I think it will. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I am right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was just something. It was just that's been in social media and just wanted something I wanted to bring up because it's something that I had to think about even for myself when
Mhm.
I was in that space of just feeling all the feelings and wanting to tell my story at the same time. Like how do
Mhm.
I do that? So yeah, very
So
interesting.
good.
Mhm.
Mhm.
All right. So we are going to transition into our next segment, put myself in her shoes.
I love these.
Yeah, they're so fun. And this is the segment where you can share your stories with us. So we invite you to share your stories with us, and we're going to have an avenue where you can do that. So we'll be sharing that with you as well. I don't have the information in this episode, but we will share it with you in the next episode about
Mhm.
how we can do that because we want to hear from you. We want to know your story so that we can put ourselves in your shoes.
Absolutely.
So today we're going to talk about Tiffany. So, Tiffany wants to know if being in a relationship with a good man is good enough. So, here's her situation. She's in a relationship with someone who is honest, loyal, dedicated, hardworking, takes care of his kids, he caters to her every need, and they have no drama in their relationship.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, she's not head over heels for him and she feels no butterflies.
Mhm.
The intimacy isn't all the way there, and at times she feels more masculine than him, which is a turnoff for her.
Mhm.
On the other hand, she knows she's been through pretty crappy relationships and knows she deserves a guy like this that treats her with respect and loves her. She's having a hard time figuring out if she's just going through a phase of doubt. They've been together for a year and a half,
Mhm.
or if the universe is trying to tell her something. Should him being a good man be good enough?
Woo, child.
What are your thoughts, sister?
if if we could get this question answered, we can solve poverty, homelessness, world peace.
Mm-mm.
Tiffany. So I'm just gonna say it. It needs to be said.
Mhm,
I don't think anything in your one life that you are given
mhm.
should just be good enough.
Mm.
Um, I think we create regret.
Mhm,
I think we create what ifs.
mhm,
And we all have them. Um, but I think we all have them because somebody says you should do this and you should do that.
yes.
And we do that because it's a societal norm or it's what means we are successful.
Mhm,
And in pursuing what is good enough, I
mhm,
think we settle.
mhm,
Um, so I would ask Tiffany at her core and
mhm,
in her gut We talked about intuition at some point in one of these episodes. At her core and in her gut, is this her life?
Mm,
If if she if she had to spend the rest of her life like this right here, is this her life?
mhm,
Is this the life she was meant to live? Because you only, if you believe what I believe, you only get one, right?
mhm, mhm.
And she has to answer that.
Yeah.
Tiffany has to answer that.
Mm,
Tiffany has to say, my life with him is, she used the words good enough. He is good enough. And I don't need any more than good enough.
mhm,
And some would say, well, what if you go out there and you go looking for better than good enough,
mhm.
and you regret leaving good enough because you can't find more than good enough?
Yeah.
I just believe I'm living life every single day to the best of my ability. And
Mhm.
I get to co-create with God my days.
Yeah.
And I am not speaking from just um what I know, and I'm living out successfully and all that. I'm speaking from someone who has had regrets and has lived in a place of what ifs.
Mhm.
So there might be someone else who can speak on the other side of that and like, yes, girl, don't do it or go for it because
Yeah.
all of that. I don't know. But for me, I would encourage Tiffany to pursue life every day and every week and every month and every year as if it is her last day, her
Mhm.
last week, her last month, or her last year. And I believe someone in this world is compatible with that. I believe there's more than someone in this world who's
Mhm.
compatible with that, with what those things that she listed. She said intimacy was important to her,
Mhm. Mhm.
and a fire of some sort. I believe someone out there could ignite that fire the way that she wants. That's
Mhm.
so. And 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 if she figures out that it's not in that moment, it's not with that person anymore, then okay, move on to the next day, the next. I don't there's a The last thing I'll say is, there is value and utility and honor in long-term relationships. I am in one.
Mhm.
And I have also in my family re- been a witness to relationships that were not,
Mhm.
and were short-lived and moved on, that kind of thing. I believe there is honor in that.
Mhm.
If you are honoring yourself at your core, every love is a choice.
Mhm.
You get to decide.
Yeah.
You get to choose because
Yeah.
it's a choice.
Mhm.
I don't believe it's a sentence. It's a choice.
Mhm.
That's it.
Mm, mm, mm. Um, yes, amen to everything that you said. And Tiffany's story connects with me because I have been in the stages that Tiffany mentioned, feeling
Mhm,
like she had not so good relationships before, feeling like she met someone who was good, a good man, treated her well, there was no drama, and then also feeling like, this still doesn't feel like it's working for me. So I
mhm,
have been in Tiffany's shoes and putting myself in her shoes. I just explored all of that, all the
mhm,
things that she was feeling. I explored, like, okay,
mhm,
am I feeling this way because of what I've gone through and just not recognizing what healthy looks like? Am I just being doubtful because I'm looking for something more and it's just like you're being unreasonable? Am I just not happy in this relationship? Like, what's going on with me?
mhm,
So I would offer to Tiffany to just continue to explore within herself to work out so she can find her truth. Is
mhm,
it because she's not able to recognize a healthy relationship, or is it just simply because he's great, but just not great for her? because
Mhm.
it's that simple. Just because he's a good man and treats her well does not mean he's the only man on this earth that will do that. And
Mhm.
for me, intimacy and feeling that fire is important to me.
Mhm.
If that ain't there, that's a problem,
Mhm. Mhm.
because that's gonna cause you to possibly look for it somewhere else, or just have that part of you that's unfulfilled and that's high on your list, then that can create some issues.
Yeah.
But I think the questioning is good because it helps you to just like explore. And then I think the answers are there within you and you'll find them when you're ready.
Yeah. Can I
Hmm.
say one last thing about this? It's such a good scenario because I think it is very real and
Yeah.
very relevant to so many men and women,
Yeah.
probably, you know?
Absolutely. Hmm.
Um, but I connect this to, and putting myself in her shoes and
Hmm.
in the scenario, I connect, I see scarcity mindset
Oh
in
yeah.
this. I see
Absolutely. Yeah.
scarcity mindset. I
Yeah.
think we have been conditioned to believe that because there are more women than men, and because there are more women out here seeking relationship than men,
Hmm.
that, men have their plethora of choices,
Hmm.
and they, it makes sense for them to have two or three and all of that.
Yeah.
And women better, if you get one and he good, you better hold on to him
Don't
because
let go that good man.
child, that's
Mm.
like a good government job. You better
Right.
hold on to it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Right? It's a
Yeah.
scarcity mindset.
It is
When I told you my word this year is abundance,
abundant.
right? And so, um, me putting myself in her shoes, being single and in a relationship, but not being married. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to make this about marriage because it's not. And not but
Mm-hmm.
marriage is a choice every day. We choose, we decide, we get up in the morning and say, I choose to be committed to you today, right? It's a
Absolutely.
choice.
Yeah.
So in a relationship, in a non-marital relationship, you have freedom. And here's the thing, whatever your moral compass is, whatever, as long as you're being guided by your moral compass, because for me, my moral compass would say I need to be honest with him about what I'm feeling
Yeah.
and what's happening inside of me related to our relationship, so
Mm.
that we can either work on it together, or I need to find more than good enough.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. So
Mhm.
Tiffany girl, just continue to explore. The answers will come. We ain't tell you
Yes.
what's wrong
Trust
because
your
the
gut, child.
answers
Trust
will
your
be.
gut.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah. I love that
Woo.
because there are so many Tiffany's out there. Yes.
Mhm. Mhm.
All
Mhm.
right. So this last segment, we leave a spiritual nugget to inspire, encourage, and uplift you before we go. So Trinace, what comes up for you at the end of this episode?
I know that this has been a word and a nugget for us before, but I think it is just that critical.
Yeah.
It's trust.
Hmm.
It's trust in every piece of our conversation. For me, anyway, I've heard the word trust, whether it is to trust yourself enough and God enough in your surroundings to venture out to do something new and different,
Hmm.
that you can say, I did this for me,
Yeah.
um, and I didn't wait for someone else to gift it to me or partner with me to do it.
Yeah.
But I did it for me, trusting that you are your best company, um,
Mhm.
and trusting yourself even when it comes to um, telling your truth and keeping it real and keeping it honest, um, getting it out of you in a healthy way, allowing the piece of you that wants to grow and move forward, and not the piece of you that wants to tear someone else down,
Mm.
trusting that you can manage your pieces,
Yeah.
trusting that what is in you is more than enough.
Mm. Mhm.
It
Yeah.
is not just good enough, it is not lacking in any way. What is in you is more than good enough.
Mhm.
Honor it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Amen. I don't have anything else to add, but amen. Mhm. Yes.
This is good, sister.
This was so,
Mhm.
so good.
Yeah,
Uh,
we're gonna come back to trust because
yeah.
I have a whole lot of thoughts. Yeah,
Uh-huh. Yep.
we'll
Yep. I
come
think it will
together.
be a great episode to talk
Mhm.
about that. But we just want to thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Real Women, Real Talk. And before we leave, we want you to know that we have sister circles happening, y'all, all across the East Coast.
We do, we do.
Uh,
So we are, I mean, literally every second Saturday, wherever you are in the world, 10 a.m. Eastern time.
yeah.
Please join us virtually. You can find all of this out on our website, realwomenrock.org. And then whether you are in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, Hampton Roads, Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, Annapolis, Maryland, coming soon, Baltimore, Maryland, Prince George's County, Maryland. We have so many opportunities for you to connect with us both in person and virtual.
Yeah. So
Nice
you
plug, sister.
Yeah, because we got some things happening, and we want y'all to not just, engage in with us on this podcast, but we want you to come and visit a sister circle so that you can see the yummy goodness that happens in those circles and experience it and tell your friends about it and just share this with others so that we can have people experience sister circles all across the world because that's what our mission is. So yeah.
Mhm. Yes. Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, y'all. So until next time, bye.
Bye.